Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at the Mothership 2nd Edition. I know I recently did videos for the upgrade packs to get you from the 1st edition set up to the new 2nd edition set, and this is the Kickstarter box, so it looks a little different than the retail if you bought that, but the contents are a little bit different when you do the upgrades. So this is an actual copy of the full Mothership 2nd edition game, and everything that comes with it is a huge heavy box, and we're going to get in and take a look. So the first thing here is a little flyer saying that the bases have a notch on them that you're supposed to use with the Mothership piece because they're a little bit different. I didn't notice with my other one that there was any difference. I think the pegs were slightly bigger, so I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye out for that on there. The next thing we have here is our rulebook. And I'm going to go through this for those of you who aren't familiar with Mothership. I'm going to go through everything just in case. And our new rulebook here has lots of nice color images of all the new stuff. Oh, can't get the page to turn. The new board layouts. There's your control panels, which we'll get to when we get to those. All the different unit types and what they can do. There's a section on combat, the different resources, our technology tree, and then they go into further detail describing each one of the things on there, which is nice. Your action cards, asteroid fields, planets. And then these are the optional rules back here as you get into stuff like the artifacts, team variants, influence, development cards, which I love, moons, which are a cool new addition to the game, and then a victory point mode, as well as a solo mode. I wish there was more to this. I hope Peter's working on I think he is, a expansion or add-on to make the solo mode more in-depth. Then you have a card list, a glossary back here to look up terms, a bunch of suggested layouts, and there's also a website that has a ton more of those, a bunch of player-created ones too. But cool book. Next we have a new thing. This is a flyer for all of the different expansions, which I have, and I have videos up for. The Into the Vortex, the Call of the Void, and then the XL. There's actually a couple new expansion coming out. Well, a small booster packet and an expansion that I'll be doing a video for soon. And then this would have been nice to have. This is a layout of what goes where in the insert, which I did not have for my other one, so we're good to see that in there. That's cool. And welcome. So next we have our punch boards, and these have your artifact tokens on here as well as the asteroids. And you get 2 of those. That's a huge gouge out of that one. Huh. I don't know what happened to those. A huge chunk taken out of them though. Next we have the new board. And I really like it. It's a 4-fold. But this one has like a linen flat finish, which I actually like way better than the 1st edition. The 1st edition one had a gloss finish. But the coolest part about this one is that the hexes go right to the edge. So you can actually put 2 of these side by side and double the size of your board. It's also double-sided, in case you want to change up the look. We have our insert here. Everything's just kind of tossed in there for shipping reasons, but there's room in here for everything. And the fact that these cards, I don't know if you can tell from this, but there's plenty of room on either side of the cards, and obviously room this way. And they did that so you can sleeve your cards and put them in there. And I have all the expansions and everything in my other one, and there's still plenty of room. Got a giant bag of cubes. These are going to be used to track energy on your motherships. And they give you a bunch of extras of those too. And another bag of cubes. These ones are to track damage on your colony stations and mothership. And then these other ones are for your tech trees. Got a bag of dice. And they did offer new colored dice that are pretty cool. But these are honestly usable. There's nothing wrong with them. The original Kickstarter came with these ones, and while they're really cool, like the 5s and 2s are like impossible to tell apart, and some of the numbers are just really difficult to read. And I'm glad they changed over to a basic set. The new ones that you can buy to add on actually look pretty cool, but dice are dice. As long as you can read them, that's what matters. Next we got a bag of random cubes. These are all your resources, the minerals that you pick up, the gas that you pick up from the gas planets, and then the influence. I'm going to separate all those out into their own containers eventually. So we have a giant mass of cards here. They're all mixed together here, it looks like. You have these cool quick reference cards, and I think there's 2 of them for each player. You have quick tips and quick tips 2. The quick tips 1 basically tells you the basics of the game, what the different terms mean, how to use them, and the things you can do during your turn. Quick tips 2 are more the advanced things, and they have a lot of the optional rules like artifacts and influence. And on the back it's different ways you can spend influence, I believe. So those are nice, especially when you're learning the game. Next we have our artifact cards. And these have the different various artifacts that you can find on planets if you're playing with those optional rules. They give you bonuses and things for controlling planets that contain an artifact. And then we have just our action cards. And these are the various cards you're going to be using throughout the game to give yourself bonuses or hinder your opponents or do all sorts of things. Normally they can only be played on your turn. There are ones, however, that are made specifically to be defensive. And they have this little shield icon. Those ones you can play on other people's turns. But they range from simple things like here's +4 engine power to move. And then you get into the higher end stuff where they have much more useful effect. And they also have a resale value down here in the corner. So you can trade these in this case, for 3 minerals. You can kind of get an idea how good the cards are by how much they trade in for, but that's not always true. It really depends on the state of the board and the situation you're in. Then we have another small pack of cards. And these ones are our development cards, which, if you're playing with the optional rules, once you take control of the planet, you can purchase these to basically upgrade your planet to give other rewards each turn. There's a lot of interesting things in there you can do. It makes the planets much more sought after and fought over. Then we have the die. These go with the moons. So instead of generating a specific resource like planets generate minerals, gas planets generate gas, the moons generate a random thing, and you roll the die to see what it is. And we have this tray, and this is actually designed to come out and set on the table on its own, and then you can put the resources on top and grab them from there if you don't have dishes or things to put them in. Kind of a neat aspect. I wish it was a little bit thicker, a little bit more sturdy, but it does the trick. Next we have our giant bag O bases, and if you're not familiar with the bases for this game, they are transparent, hexagonal, and I said I was going to look at them, and they don't appear to have the tab. I'll have to look through. Oops, dropper. I'll have to look through more of them to see, but I don't see the tabs on there like previously mentioned. We have some of our, I'm not sure why these are broken up weird into package. So, we have some of our ships here and the planets. The planets in this are pretty cool. I love the detail on them. I don't drop them all on the floor. I love the detail on them. This one has a little bit of mold line around the middle here. It's going to need to be cleaned up. Not too bad. But I've seen some people start painting these recently, and they turn out really cool. And you actually get 8 of those, the one I already put together in these. Hopefully they won't roll away. And that bag also had the motherships, and it looks like the fighters were in there, which you get 3 fighters and 1 mothership of each color. And there are a ton of models in this game. And this looks like the rest of our ships, which in this pile here we've got our colony stations, the guardian cannons, and the bombers. And you get 2 bombers, 3 guardian cannons, and 1 colony station for each of the colors. And this bag is our control markers. And these are used to designate when you take control of a planet. You put one of these under the base of the planet, and I believe there's 6 of each color. I could be wrong. I think that's what's in there though. But tons of those. Then we got these. These are actually new for the 2nd edition. A random packaged silica gel in there too. But these are used in the victory point mode to mark your score. I almost think these are wood. They look like they're wood. They were plastic in the previous versions. The prototype that I got in my upgrade stuff, I'm pretty sure they were plastic in those, but these seem to be wood. And with those go these templates here. This is how you keep score on the victory point games. You have the track 1 to 10 and 11 to 20. And you're going to put these star markers on there and move them up for your respective color as you score. I do like that way of doing it. The 1st edition game had individual cards for each player, and they kept track in front of themselves. It was easier for you to keep track that way, but it made it harder for people to see from across the table. Next we have the gas planets and moons. And the gas planets have a completely different texture than the mineral ones, just so you can tell the difference. They kind of look cool, I love them. And you get 2 of those. And there's no mold lines on these like there were on the other planets. And then we got the moons, and they come with these little arm bases. So they go on these little arms like this, and you take the planets, and they hook over the peg like this, and then you put your planet back on. This is really hard to do on camera. And then you got a moon orbiting a planet. You can also use the moon standalone as a dwarf planet by putting them directly on a base. In which case they basically function the same as a moon. You're going to roll the die to see what bonus they give for controlling the dwarf planet. And you get 4 of those and 4 of the little arms to mount them on. Next thing we have are our player boards, and there's 6 of these, 1 for each color. And these are 3D, basically double thick, and they're recessed. So those cubes sit in those little recesses, so if you bump the table or whatnot, they don't slide all over. I love games that do that. It's definitely a deluxe feature that I'm seeing more and more games use, and I like it. Also on the bottom of these, because of the way the rules work with certain ships only being able to affect certain types, they have a nice list on here. You can take out, fighters can take out fighters, bombers, and shields. They can also take out planets and guardians. They cannot damage hull points. And it goes down the list explaining what can do what. Very nice reference to have. There's also a cost at the bottom for your resources. You can spend 2 to draw action cards, 3 to explore a planet, 1 to build a guardian, or depending on your tech upgrade, whatever they currently at. So nice little reference sheet on those as well. This nice thick board too, so it's going to last you. And the last thing we have in here is our tech trees. And these all start at 0, so you're going to have basically a cube off to the side here. And these resource marks, they're kind of hard to see on the camera, but you spend a resource, so in this case 1, you move your marker to there and you get this bonus. And then they move up. When you get to here, you have a choice of which way to go, and then they keep moving up. Basically, by the time you get one of these endgame ones, the game is made so that it doesn't drag on forever, and a lot of these are overpowered and will end the game quickly. And the argument is, don't let your opponent collect enough resources to get to those. And the other neat thing is that some of these abilities that you can see have a darker background, like this one and this one. When you buy this one, if you go up here and you choose to go to this one replaces that one. These don't stack together, and I think there's a message down here at the bottom for that. Yep. And a lot of cool ways to customize. The top one's economy, so you get a better income. This one's all combat. This one's all support. And the bottom one is for your colony. It gets you the guardian cannons. And all the final abilities are pretty cool. My personal favorite used to be the nuclear missiles. I think I still like them, but they've limited them a little bit in this. Still good overall, though. And those, again, are made of that nice thick board. In our tray here, besides all of the bags that everything's already come in, there's a couple extra bags. This will help you sort out parts. You get all the bags that all the various pieces came in to begin with. I think what I ended up doing was taking these larger bags, which I had some extra of my own, and keeping everything you need for each of the factions separate. But there's a nice tray for that too, which we'll get into next. But plenty of storage options for you to pack things back away. And then we have our tray insert, and it's pretty thin. I'll give it that. This one seems to have held up better than my other one. It's got a couple of wrinkles in the edges, but nothing major. And it has this cool tray in the bottom here, and this is made so you can store your entire fleets. Once you get them all put together, you can store your entire fleet by just snapping them into these little spots. They're very tight at first. Hopefully they'll break in over time. And this is what that cool layout card was for. It's going to look something like that with all your ships in place. And then the tray here goes over top of it to protect them. There's plenty of room underneath there. I've seen some people actually trim this down so you get more room, especially if you have the XL pack, which gives you 2 extra players and another board. You get a larger board, you get 2 extra players, 2 whole fleets, so you need that little extra room to store extra stuff in there. But it's a really nice storage system, and they did a good job of designing it to hold everything nice and neatly, and it looks really cool when you get them all in there and they open the box. And there's a look at everything that comes in the box, and now that you've seen it all, I can kind of tell you what is Mothership. Well, I like to refer to it as chess in space. There's so many different varieties of it, though. That's kind of an understatement for it, but basically you have your colony stations, which you need to protect. They have the last remnants of your civilization in it. You have your mothership, which is your queen, so to speak. It's your all-purpose ship that you use your control panel to adjust your stats up. You can boost up your engines, you can boost up your weapons, you can boost up your shields, and you have 5 in each of these to start with, so 15 available. And you can mix and match. You can take them all out of one, put them all into engines and go really fast. You can shut your engines off, boost up your shields and your guns. And through your tech tree, you also gain extras of these, so it's possible to get, I think, up to 4 extra on here to mess around with, to mess with your settings. And it's just a cool aspect of that specific ship. Then you have your fighters, and you get 3 fighters. Those ones are basically fast attack. They move in, they do a d6 damage, and can't hurt hull points though. So you really can't hurt the colony stations at all, and you can't hurt the mothership once its shields are down. Then you have your bombers. You get 2 of those, and the bombers are a little bit heftier. They have a d8 damage. They're a little bit slower, and they can't fight other bombers or other fighters. They're not maneuverable enough. So there's a trade-off there. Then finally you have your guardian cannons, which have a d6. They don't move at all. They're stationary turrets, and you need a tech tree branch to even deploy those unless you get them from a special action card. And the most common game is Deathmatch, where you have basically 1 of each. You don't start with the Guardian Cannons, those are extra, but you have 1 of each of the rest of these. And you're trying to eliminate your opponent's colony station or wipe out their entire fleet. There's also a victory point mode, where you're playing for points and your ships respawn at the end of each turn. Those games you can be a little bit more aggressive. You move out and you can, it doesn't matter if you lose a ship because you just get it back. Your opponents gain points for killing them though, so you don't want to give away too many, but they're a lot more forgiving, where the deathmatch mode, all you have are that set of ships, and when they're gone, so you play a lot more strategically in that. And one of my favorite things about Mothership is that everything is so modular. You can play just a basic deathmatch. You can play just a basic victory point mode, and that'd be fine. And then you can add in planetary exploration, where once you've taken control of a planet and you put your little marker on here to say, hey, that's my planet, then you can spend some extra resources to basically explore the planet. And when you do, you'll get one of these artifact cards. And depending on what artifact card you get, like in this case, the VHS tape, gives you +1 roll against enemy guardian cannons. So as long as you control that planet, you'll have this, and they link together by these little numbered tokens that are on the punch boards here. And as long as you control that planet, you get this ability. Well, now that planet becomes more interesting. People want to take that planet over and get those. And then you can add on top of that the development cards. So any of your planets can support up to 3 developments on them. And developments give you things like, in this case, you gain extra influence. where you gain extra resources. And they also give victory points if you're playing victory point games. And you can build up an engine with these, basically, kind of like a small engine building type thing. On a planet can have up to 3. If it has a moon, the moon gives you an extra one you can add on there. And it's just a cool other aspect that you can add to the game. And then when you get into the expansions, they all start adding things too, and you can check out my expansion videos for more information on those. And I think I have a more in-depth gameplay type video too. This one's already pretty long, so I don't want to get into that, but it's just a really fun, it's kind of a take that game. You're making alliances, breaking alliances, moving around the board, positioning yourself to take over as many planets as you can so you can get the resources to start spending on your tech trees, and you upgrade your ships and things through your tech trees. Hopefully in semi-secret if people aren't paying attention, and then all of a sudden you break out one of your end-game final tier weapons and they're like, where did you get that? And it's just a fun aspect of the game, and it's something not to be taken too seriously, and a lot of the cards will allude to that, the different sci-fi references and things you can find throughout the game that just yeah, there's a good example right there. And yeah, you play, you make your alliances, you break your alliances, you stab people in the back, you charge headfirst through an asteroid field only to fail rolls and smash into asteroids and die. And the end is, it doesn't matter who wins, you just reset and you play another one. So if you're into that kind of game, it's definitely for you. It is more of a PvP game. I know some people aren't interested in that. Generally, I'm not interested in PvP, but this particular game does it in a way that's kind of fun and entertaining. There's that point to look at. There is the solo mode, which is hopefully getting expanded on, though I wouldn't recommend buying this game right now just for solo play, because it's just a single mission, and the whole core heart and soul of this game right now, the way it's designed, is for the multiplayer. And you really want to play with the more people, the better. And the small board that comes with the game is a little small for playing the 6 players that come with the box. I don't know if I'd play, unless you're playing teams, I don't think I'd play more than 4 players on the base board. Though they do have an XL board, which is much larger. It's 6-fold, so it's an extra 20%, 30% larger. We have played big games on that. I'm looking forward to getting a couple boards and putting them all together to make one massive board, because I actually have 8 players now because I bought the XL expansion, and we want to play just a massive 8-player free-for-all. We've done a few teams. I think the biggest we've done currently that we completed the whole game, though, was a 3 versus 3 team game, which was kind of fun. Anyway, that's a look at Mothership 2nd Edition from Peter Sanderson. I'll put some links down below to the expansion videos, as well as the more in-depth view of the game and the mods and how you can customize it to your liking. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.